The way that we marry is we have to look for bride price, and then you also have to present some cows. You have to give some cows to the parents of your fiance.
That is amazing. So welcome back to another edition of Carter in the Car, and it's very hot today. My special guest today is Praise Vellem. Is that how you say your name?
Yes.
Vellem.
Yes,
Is that you're from Zimbabwe? Is that right?
Yeah, I'm from Zimbabwe.
Is Vellem? It sounds like a Dutch name. Is that a European name or is it a Zimbabwean name?
It's not a Zimbabwean name per se.
Yeah.
Because history has it that my forefathers, they came from South Africa, so they were of a colored origin.
Okay.
Yes, so it means that, yeah, it can be possible that maybe my ancestors, one of my ancestors may be of Dutch origin.
Yeah, it's interesting. Vellem is very
It's a possibility.
Yeah, it sounds like a sort of Flemish name.
Yeah, because there is no Vellem name in Zimbabwe. It's actually a strange name.
Yeah, okay, yeah. So here we are in Bahrain. How long have you been living in Bahrain?
I've been here for 5 years. I came here in 2016.
Okay.
In the month of June.
Okay.
Yeah.
And we were sitting with you and your wife a few days ago and chatting about you. You know, you guys are very happy together and you look like you've been together like for forever.
Yes.
However, you told us that you've only been married for 3 years. Is that right?
Yeah, that's right, yeah.
And so I thought, well, because we got the impression you'd known each other for years, and you have. And so you were kind of dating for how many years before you got married?
We dated for 8 years. Me and my wife. She's called Tsitsi, by the way.
Yes, Tsitsi, that's right.
TSI.
Yeah. So you dated for 8 years, and then you got married, and you've been married for 3 years. So you've been together 11 years.
Yes.
This is a great story. Why did you wait for so long to get married?
Well, the thing is, according to our customs or our tradition back in Zimbabwe, actually, it happens in most of African countries, right? The way that we marry is we have to look for bride price. Yeah,
like a dowry, like in
yes, yes, and then you also have to present some cows. You have to give some cows to the parents of your fiance.
That is amazing.
Yes.
So does it vary on the amount of cows that you have to give the bride's parents, or is it like the same amount for every marriage?
No, it differs. It varies. Actually, the parents get to, they sit down and they get to tell you how many cows that they demand, that they need in order for them to give their daughter's hand in marriage to you.
So basically, they decide how many cows to give?
Yeah.
And how many cows did you have to provide to take your bride?
As for me, it was because actually it's different with families. So as for me, they actually charged me about 4 cows.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah.
Oh, let me back up again.
Yeah.
In total, there were 7. Right?
7 cows. Okay.
7 cows in total. But then I ended up being charged 4 cows. The other ones, they were converted into money, into cash.
Okay.
So, yeah.
Is that because you couldn't find the cows?
Not exactly, but when you are going to marry, when you're going to pay the bride price, you actually need to have a middleman, somebody who can speak on your behalf.
No way, so you have like an agent?
Negotiate. Yeah.
That's awesome.
And that person has to be a very good negotiator as well.
And they take commission, right?
Yes.
So you pay them like a set fee, or they take a percentage?
No, actually it's up to you to appreciate them. So they don't actually kind of like charge you, like per se. They don't say give me $50 or $100.
Yeah.
But it's up to you, how you're going to appreciate them at the end of the day when they've finished their work.
So are there like guys that this is their job?
Well, there are no known people that actually stands for that.
Sure.
But what happens is that you can actually choose. You go around, you move around asking, for people who are willing to go with you.
Okay.
But the one thing that you have to be sure of is you have to, look for people that can actually negotiate. Good negotiators, people that can actually, negotiate on your behalf.
Okay. So the price started with 7 cows.
the price started with 10 cows, but that is not all, by the way.
Okay.
Yes, because they actually charge an amount of money.
Yeah.
The process goes like this. Before you even start, when people gathers around for that kind of thing,
Yeah.
what happens is there are some small amounts of money that they charge in order for you to start the process.
Okay.
Yes.
So you have to pay like a little deposit.
Yeah, something like that. Like for instance, they will say to you, before you even start to talk about your story, you need to pay something. Huh? Yeah.
Before you start.
Before you start, before we enter into this conversation, whatever is happening, the transaction and everything, you have to have a small amount of money that you have to pay.
Okay.
And in my language, we call it vuramuromo. It means that's the amount of money that allows them to open their mouths so that they can start speaking to you now.
Wow, so you go into their house and they're like...
Yeah. Without vuramuromo, then nothing is going to start.
Wow.
Yeah, so for instance, they can charge you. It's a small amount though.
Yeah.
It's just a tradition.
Sure.
It's something that has been happening and it was passed on from, our forefathers.
Sure.
Yeah. So we actually understand it,
So basically, because I understand that Zimbabwe is quite poor, right?
Yes.
Very poor.
Yeah, that's true.
So is it ever a possibility that someone can't afford to get married? Is that a possibility?
Yeah, that's possible. For an example, that's the reason why I took a very long time dating with my beloved wife now, who was my girlfriend at that time.
Yeah.
It was because I could not afford, to look for the bride price. I could not afford to pay the bride price, actually. So So it took me a long time.
So did you pay this, what do you call it, the deposit?
Vuramuromo.
Vuramuromo.
Oh yeah, you're right.
Okay. So you paid the Vuramuromo, and then as like a deposit to secure the bride.
No. Vuramuromo is like saying, we need to start now.
Okay.
Yes. So you're opening their mouth so that they can start talking to you.
Wow. Is there like a time limit? So just say you pay this Vuramuromo, and then they say, okay, you have 5 years or 3 years or 3 months.
No. Okay. It's for that particular day, right?
Okay.
It's like when you have a conference or anything, right?
Yeah.
And people are seated.
Yes.
Now, before you start that particular thing, before you start that program, right, you need to pay Vuramuromo. It's like trying to say, I'm officially now asking you guys so that we can converse, we can have a conversation.
Okay. So at this point, if they don't like you, they can say, sorry, you've paid this money, but we don't want you to marry our daughter. Is that possible?
Well, there are rare cases that happens like that.
Okay.
Yeah, very rare. Because what actually happens is, if they're not interested in you, they'll not allow you to come into their home state.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Because unlike India, I mean, from what I understand, a lot of Indian marriages are arranged. Not nowadays less, but so the bride and the bridegroom sort of don't really meet much before the wedding, right? In some cases. Whereas you guys, you've met, you like each other, you love each other, and then you're going together in the process, and you decide together. And
yeah, there's something else that I have to tell you. It's different from your custom, your tradition, you guys, the way you do it. Because I believe that for you, it's only the wedding. You just have to wed with a lady, and that's all, you're staying together.
Yeah.
As for us, you have to do a traditional wedding, the custom, the one that I'm talking about.
Yeah.
That's the first thing to do. Then you're also required, but then also it differs with people, but especially Christians.
Sure.
They are required, even after paying the bride price,
yes,
they are required also to have a wedding, like a white wedding.
Yep.
Yeah. So it's like 2 stages.
And did you say, I got a vague memory of you saying that if you haven't paid the bride price, the church will not marry you. Is that true?
Yes. Yeah, that's true. Yeah, that's very true.
Okay.
Yeah. Our church is actually, they respect our tradition,
Yeah.
Yes.
Very
they respect who we are. So regardless of us belonging to a church, belonging to a congregation whatsoever, we also have to respect our tradition, because before you became a Christian, right?
Yes.
You belonged to a family. Before you became a Christian, you were born in a family. So that family has set rules and traditions, right?
Yes. Yeah.
Yes.
It's different.
So that we don't throw that one away when we when we were saved.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's a fascinating story, and it sounds like something from like hundreds of years ago, and it was, of course, hundreds of years ago, right? They were doing the same thing, right?
Yeah. But it's happening now. You know, if you're not married properly, like the way that I was telling you that, you actually need to pay some cows and things like that.
Yeah.
And in Zimbabwe, that's not a marriage. Whatever you'll be doing, you can stay together, but without doing this thing, without going through this process, you are not regarded as a married person.
Amazing. Does it depend? Are the families fussy about what kind of cows that you give them, or the quality or the breed of cows? How does that work?
Not actually. They are not fussy about the breed actually. But what happens in other families now, it differs with people, right?
Yes.
It differs with families. If you want to marry somebody's daughter, I mean, if you want to marry to a person, you know, who has his daughter, and then, you know, they are greedy of money and everything.
Yes.
They can do that.
Okay.
But most people are considerate because they know that the most important thing here is a relationship that is going on.
That's good.
Yes.
Yeah, that's good.
So the important thing is the relationship. So they can actually charge you some cows, of which in some instances people don't have those cows.
No.
So you can actually negotiate with them using that mediator that I talked about.
Okay.
Yeah, you can actually talk to them to say that we don't have the cows now.
Yeah.
But there are some which are mandatory. Like I can tell you an example of there's one that you have to give to the mother. That one it is mandatory. That one.
One cow.
Yeah, there's a one cow amongst the 7.
Okay.
Like in my case.
Yeah.
That one you actually have to, you know, you have to bring it. You have to either, if they allow you to pay for it, or else. But normally they want the real cow. They want you to bring the cow.
Amazing. So you bring it,
So,
right? Like you go and collect
yes.
it, and you put it in a truck, and you
You do that
yourself.
No, in my case now I didn't, but I actually sent people to go and do that for me.
That's a good idea. Yeah.
So my story is, we dated for 8 years, right?
Yeah.
Me and Tsitsi. I'll keep talking about her name because she's not here, but
Yeah.
I have to. Otherwise, if she sees those videos, she's gonna ask me,
Yes.
why didn't you even mention my name?
My name. Yes.
Anyways, in my case, I dated my girlfriend for 8 years.
Yeah.
And you know, in as much as I wanted to pay the bride price, I didn't have money. I was very poor, to be
You were
honest
a
with
pastor, right? Is that right?
Yes, I'm a pastor in Zimbabwe. And so what happened is, I ended up saying, okay, I'll now have to look for a job because I was a full-time pastor at the moment.
Yeah.
But then with the situation that is back in Zimbabwe,
Yeah.
you know, things are tough and all. So, of course, the church was paying me, but it was not enough for me to, you know,
To buy cows.
Yeah, to buy cows, to pay for the bride price, and so on and so forth. So I didn't want to overburden the church.
Sure. Yeah.
So I then decided to take the job offer that had come, you know, with a relative. There's a relative who actually lives here in Bahrain.
Oh, you're a relative here, okay.
Yes, my cousin. So he actually, you know, he told me about what was here, and, you know, I mean, the job offer, and I accepted it.
Yeah.
I ended up accepting, knowing that with the kind of money that was going to be paid, when he was telling me that this much is what they will pay.
Yeah.
I knew that I can actually save some money and then pay the bride price. So I came here not expecting to stay here in Bahrain.
Yeah.
When I came here in 2016, I was just expecting to work for 1 year, raise some money for the bride price, and go back to Zimbabwe.
Yeah.
But then, you know, one thing led to the other. The inflation started rising back in Zimbabwe, and the amount of money that I raised in 1 year, it was not enough for me, you know, to pay the bride price and as well as having a wedding. But I then did it the other way. I raised some money. In that year, I managed only to raise some money for the bride price, not for the wedding.
Okay.
So I raised some money and I sent people back to Zimbabwe.
Yeah.
You know, they were going on, that cousin of mine was going on a vacation back to Zimbabwe.
Yeah.
I gave him the money, and he's the one that actually went there, and he represented me.
Nice.
In everything, so he paid the cows and everything that was needed.
That's amazing.
Yes. And then what was left now was for us to have a wedding so that Tsitsi's family can release, you know, their daughter to me.
Yeah.
So the wedding now, I had to wait also for another year
Wow.
to raise some money Because also, what we do in Zimbabwe is even when you get married, when you pay the bride price,
Yeah.
you also have to look for your own money. You know?
Yeah. Sure.
Yes.
Yeah.
For the wedding.
Yeah.
They can be, relatives or people that can come and chip in
Yeah.
in helping one or two things. But in my situation, I was all alone in this. I
Oh.
did it alone. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. There was no help from anybody whatsoever.
So it took
So
you.
I had to face it alone.
So
Most of it.
Amazing. So 1 year to raise the bride price money, another year to pay
raise the money for the wedding.
the wedding.
Yeah.
At what point did Tsitsi come to Bahrain?
Right. When I then went to Zimbabwe after the 2 years, right? On my vacation. So I'd actually, we had actually chose a date for the wedding. So I went there and we had our wedding. And then, I was just going to stay in Zimbabwe for my 2-month leave.
Yeah.
So after those 2 months, I came back to Bahrain and I started working again, raising money so that I can bring her here.
Okay. How do you feel in Bahrain? It's a very nice place, right? It's quiet and
Bahrain is a nice place. It's nice and quiet, like you have said. It's a peaceful place to be,
Yeah.
Yeah. Even though, it's a lot different from Africa in terms of the weather.
Yeah.
When I'm talking about my country in particular, it's different.
Yeah.
Our summer in Bahrain summer is different because it's cool. The weather is cool back in Africa.
Yeah.
But here, when we reach summer, oh my God,
I know.
the heat is just too much.
Yeah.
The humidity is too much.
It is.
But when it comes to every other thing, Bahrain is good. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's good.
Today it's 42 degrees only, so you can feel the difference. Because yesterday, I thought, 2 days ago, it was 45, 46.
No, it was really hot.
42, and there's a slight breeze. It's okay. It's a bit humid.
Yeah,
but it's
today it's fine. It's okay. But in my country, those temperatures too high for them.
Yeah, of course.
Having this kind of temperature, they will cry. Yeah, they'll say, "Oh my God, what is happening now?"
Yeah. What's the best thing about Zimbabwe?
What I can say about Zimbabwe is a beautiful country.
Yeah.
Yeah, Zimbabwe is a beautiful country, and I miss it a lot.
I'm sure.
Yeah.
And I imagine the people, I've met a few Zimbabweans in Bahrain and also in Dubai, when you're in coffee shops and so on. And without fail, I think almost every Zimbabwean I've ever met have always been extremely polite, extremely warm and friendly. And so I take that as a sign that if one goes to Zimbabwe, it'll be the same.
Yeah, it's the same actually. If you come to Zimbabwe, you'll be welcomed. People in Zimbabwe are friendly. We have good people in Zimbabwe.
Yeah.
Of course, I was talking about the inflation and everything, the politics and everything, but we put that aside.
Yeah.
People are so accommodative in Zimbabwe.
Yeah.
You can come in Zimbabwe and stay in Zimbabwe without any kind of violence coming your way whatsoever.
Nice.
It's a very nice country to be.
And so it's landlocked, but are there like lakes you can swim?
Yes, there are lakes in Zimbabwe. We have lakes, we have dams, and we have rivers as well.
Okay.
Yes, and we have a lot of holiday resorts,
Oh yeah. Nice.
tourist attraction places, a lot of them.
And is it like South Africa where you have game reserves with
Oh yes,
crazy wild animals?
yes, plenty. By the way, we have the largest falls in the whole world.
Largest falls?
Yeah, I don't know if you have heard about Victoria Falls.
Oh, falls, yes.
Yes.
Victoria Falls, yes.
Yeah, that's ours. That belongs to Zimbabwe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How far is that from Harare?
Well, it's very far. I guess close to 1,000 kilometers.
Wow.
Yeah, it's very far from Harare.
So the country, if you were to drive from bottom to top, how many kilometers from south to north?
I'm not sure. You won't be able to finish it in a day. But what I know is that, yeah, maybe, probably, I'm just guessing, right?
Yeah.
You can spend 2 to 3 days.
Sure.
Yeah.
And then across?
The same.
Same.
Yeah.
It's kind of not round, but it's kind of a very symmetrical country, isn't it?
You're right.
I've seen it on the map. I've never been there. But
Yes,
yeah.
you're right.
It's been great to have you in my car today.
Thank you.
I'm sure that everyone's going to love your stories.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
No, it's a pleasure.
Yeah, it's a pleasure to be part of your program as well.
Yeah.
Part of your show.
And you said that, but just lastly, you're interested in doing some acting, right?
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because you're very well-spoken and you have a great presence. So I think that's half the battle.
Yeah.
Being in front of a camera.
Yeah, I actually envisioned myself from childhood as an actor.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think acting is my thing, but the only thing is that I've never done it.
Yeah.
But I would love to try it
Yeah.
if I get the opportunity.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, this is the first one. This is not really acting, but it's more like a
Thank
like
you.
a documentary style.
Yeah. I
camera.
value it so much.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Pleasure. Praise Vellem, thank you so much for being my special guest today in Carter in the Car.
Thank you for
And
having me.
we should give a fist bump.
Fist bump. Wow.